Hi, and welcome back to Auntie Coley's house. Another Easter treat for you. How would you like to make fun treats like these with chocolate and not have to spend a fortune at your local candy shop? Not against the candy shops. I love those. But you can make these at home. These are stuffed with marshmallow and peanut butter. One's marshmallow, one's peanut butter. I don't know which one. As well as these, if you just want to make some tiny ones. All you need is a mold. Any kind of mold will do. And they don't even have to be Easter. Get some colors of chocolate. We'll melt them. And then we'll make our own marshmallows, homemade marshmallows. And homemade peanut butter mix. Just tastes like Reese's peanut butter cups. So stay tuned. This is easy stuff. You can do it, and they can look this great as well. So let's have some fun. Stay tuned. Read the ingredients list. Get it all out in front of you, and we'll do it together. Okay, we'll see you in just a bit. We're going to make the marshmallows from scratch. Now, if you don't like to make the marshmallows from scratch, I get it. Just go buy some already marshmallows, melt them in a pot with some water until it's just enough liquefied that you can spoon it into a chocolate shell, or you can put a whole bunch of confectioner sugar or flour or starch in the bottom of like a pan like this, like maybe thick like this. So you'll fill that, good few inches. You'll need lots and lots of that. And then what you can do is you can take a real egg and then just indent it into your flour, your starch, your sugar, whatever you want. And then that will be your mold for your marshmallows if you want to make the chocolate covered marshmallows. I'm going to actually use silicone molds, plastic molds, to do this because I'm going to fill the chocolate with some colors, which I'm going to show you too. But this with the pan is if you don't have any molds. Okay, and you can do that both with the homemade marshmallows or the marshmallows that you buy. So a couple things you're going to need. Corn syrup. I also made homemade pure vanilla extract. That's a really easy one. Made some pure vanilla extract, so you need that. Just get some vanilla. You'll need a candy thermometer. Most meat thermometers will not go hot enough. So you have to have a candy thermometer for the marshmallows that goes at least to 240. You're going to mix everything together, bring it to a boil, and then you just let it sit until it hits 240, and then boom, you're done. You'll need your chocolate wafers to melt. And like I said, I'm going to make them in molds, so I'm going to decorate the molds. But you can certainly just use the flour method. Make your indent. You're going to put your marshmallows in there. Let them sit. As soon as they get a little hard, you're going to flip them over and then let them sit for a couple hours. You can even let them sit overnight. And then you'll be able to actually grab them and move them around. And then you can just take a bowl of your melted chocolate, dip those marshmallows in there, and then decorate them after that, or just leave them chocolate. But today we're going to use molds. So we still need chocolate for the molds. You're going to need the caramel syrup, the vanilla. You're going to need gelatin, which I'm going to teach you because you have to let that, it's called bloom. You got to let that bloom. You're going to need some salt and some sugar. Sugar for everything. Okay, and just, of course, your pan to melt all of this stuff in. the wafers, the chocolate wafers, you can actually just melt in your microwave. All right. Also, we'll need a blender with the whisk on there, the whisk attachment. Now, it's a little harder to use these because you're going to have to beat this stuff for about 10 to 12 minutes. So sometimes some beaters, they burn themselves up. Or you can just use the tabletop ones, which are a lot easier. I do not have one. So you can use a tabletop one, and then you can add your stuff and just let that do the mixing for you. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna start with the chocolate mold because I want the chocolate to be ready by the time the marshmallows are. So let me get everything together and I'll meet you back here in just a minute. Hi, okay, you've got a couple choices here. I have a silicone egg one that I'm going to make. These are pretty huge, but they're fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chocolate and I'm going to color the inside. And then on this one's just a cute little one of little bunnies. And what I'm going to do is take some of this color and I'm just going to paint where the bunnies are. Now, if you want to get fancy and change all the colors and do the clothing different from, go ahead. I have done that. It just takes a lot. And for the purposes of this video, I'm actually just going to paint within the lines with one color. And then the egg itself, the shell, I will make either white or brown. And then this is what we will squeeze our marshmallows into. All right. So make sure you have a couple paintbrushes. Yes, paintbrushes. We're going to use paintbrushes to do this. I have a small one for the intricate one, and then this one will be to get right in those big spots. So that's what you do. You just melt your chocolate. I have yellow and green, and then I'm just going to just paint with the chocolate in there. And it takes a little bit. Just try and stay in the lines. And then this will dry for a minute. And then we can put our chocolate shell. Then we'll melt the white chocolate or the dark chocolate. And we'll put that in there. Okay. So you're going to have to put quite a bit. And then just fill out your outline first. And then you can fill in with more chocolate. All right, and then I got a little crazy. Okay, but see how now you can see the outline, and you can clean it up if you want. Just take another clean one of these clean paint brushes, and you can go around the outline if you want to get really fancy. Otherwise, that I think is going to be good for me. And then we'll let that dry for a minute. And then we'll go melt our other colors and we'll pour it on top for the shell. So for the big one, we're going to use this, and I'm just going to put this in the indents. These are a little easier to clean up too than those tiny little ones. But definitely make sure you have enough of the colors. But these are fun, and you just put your colors in there. And then we'll fill this with the other chocolate as well. So we'll finish these up, and then I'll meet you on the other side here when we melt the chocolate. So make sure that you do your decorating first, and then get your, whether your white chocolate, brown chocolate, or both, get them ready. And then when I come back, we'll go over how to put that in your molds before you fill them with your marshmallow. And then we'll make the marshmallows. All right, I'll see you in just a bit. Alrighty, so your insides should sort of look like that. Just clean up all the sides, because you will see any extra icing on the other side, you know, if you just have spots of it or messes. But if you don't care, don't worry about it. And like, I just put just clumps of this, so it kind of looks like this on the other side. Now, I've seen even candy makers just make a full oval, and so you can see it, because it really is, unless you have a ton of time and patience, it's a lot. Okay, so we're going to put these in the fridge while we are melting the bigger batch of the white and the dark chocolate to make the shell. Okay, so I poured my white chocolate in here. Remember that when you're melting these, you put them at power level 5. And then start at 1 minute, and then 30 seconds after that, stir 30 seconds until it's ready for both colors. On this one, if it's super thick, we're gonna put in a little, you can put in vegetable oil. I like to put in coconut oil. It gives it a little flavor. I really don't like the vegetable oil is supposed to be a neutral flavor, and I just don't really care for that. But at any rate, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to put just probably a little coconut oil in there so that it will thin it out a little bit, and it's easier to drizzle in there to make the shell. Okay, so this chocolate made thinner with some coconut oil. You may get a little coconut taste. You can use any other kind of vegetable oil, but what? So this one, you kind of just pour in, and then you're going to pour out, okay? Oopsie. Okay, and then you just kind of get it out. Okay, and see how it makes like a shell in there? You can do it this way too, all right? So I'm going to get the rest of these taken care of here. Okay, and then just let them drizzle right out. Okay, and then you always want to keep this clean. So just take something like this. Otherwise, you're going to be cleaning up the edges of all your candies. So we don't want to do that. All right, and then you can see on the other side, see all your decorations? They look really nice. So I'm just going to wipe this with a wet cloth, and I will be right back. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the big one. And make sure you're putting that right up on all those edges. Remember, you're just making a shell so that you can fill it. Now you don't want to make the chocolate so thin that it doesn't hold anything in. So the thicker your chocolate is, the thicker the shell will be. So you can play with it for a little bit. Just make sure there's enough. Get it right up to your edges. All right. And then same thing, just drizzle it out. Then after we finish our marshmallows, we'll fill these back up, we'll scrape them, and then we'll put them in the fridge, and then they'll be all done. Okay, so I'm going to put these in the refrigerator so they harden up and are ready for our marshmallow stuff. So, get all your ingredients for your marshmallows. You want your Karo syrup, you want your vanilla, you want your sugar. All right, get all that stuff ready and your gelatin. Get all that stuff ready because we're going to come back in a couple seconds and we'll get that started. All right? Okay, I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so right now we're going to have two things going. We have to bloom the gelatin, and that just means we have to dissolve it slowly so that it doesn't gel up like tapioca. So, take your half a cup of cold water. I take mine right out of the fridge, half a cup of cold water, and put it in the mixing bowl that you're going to use to mix everything. So you're going to put that in the mixing bowl, and you have your 3 little packets of gelatin. So you're going to open those up, and you're just going to slowly shake these over the water until you see it dissolve, and then shake a little bit more. Don't be stirring it, just leave it alone. So, just little bits at a time. And this allows the water to be absorbed into the gelatin. Okay, now keep doing this until your 3 packets are done. And then while this is dissolving, we'll put the rest of the stuff in our pan that we're going to have to use. So you sprinkle it on until you see it dissolve, and then put another layer on. So in the pan that you're going to use, you're going to take your 2 cups of sugar, your 2/3 cups of the Karo light syrup, you're going to take your 1/4 cup of water, pour it in there, and then your little 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If I can pick that bad boy up. Okay, and then just sprinkle that in there. Okay, and then we'll wait until we get this taken care of here. Mix this all up, and then we're going to put this over medium heat. All right, we'll come right over to the stove. And we'll get this started. Medium heat. So we're going to use the medium heat to dissolve the sugar. And then we're going to move it up to high heat. And we're not going to stir it anymore. We're going to heat it up to 240 degrees. And that is our sweet spot. Don't let it get above 240 degrees, okay? All right. So once this is melted and at the 240 degrees, I will meet you over and we will pour it into our gelatin mixture, and then our marshmallows will be almost done. Okay, so I will see you in about 10 minutes. Okay? Okay. Good luck and pay attention. Okay? All right. Okay, so you got your 240 degree mixer or syrup, right? You're going to put the whisks on your mixer or on your tabletop one, and you're going to mix this into your gelatin mixture on low until it's mixed, okay? Okay, you just mix this on low until the gelatin dissolves. And then you're going to turn this on high and you're going to beat it for anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes. And when it gets really fluffy, you're going to put your vanilla in and mix that all up until it mixes good, and then you're done. And then you can go ahead and you can put them, if you're going to put them on the flour mixer, do that. Or you can just pour them right into the molds, which we are going to do. Okay, so I'll let this go. I'll see you back here in 8 to 12 minutes. Okay, now that you've got your chocolate molds ready, or you can just dust a pan with some confectioner's sugar to put your little drops on while these harden. But we're going to use the chocolate molds. And so you mix 1 cup of your confectioner's sugar with 3/4 cups of your peanut butter. Now, I use the natural peanut butter just simply because it doesn't have any sugar in it. And I feel with all this other confectioner sugar that I'm putting in there, that's a lot. So you can use any kind of peanut butter you want. I use the creamy too. So you just take that and you mix it up. And this is going to start getting dry, so you're going to need to get your hands in there. And then you can, when you get this all together, you can break it off into small pieces and mold it into the shape you want so that you can dip it in your melted chocolate. And then you can put it on some cookie sheets with parchment paper and put that in your freezer. That would be the time too if you want to roll them in sprinkles or any kind of candies while that chocolate is still wet. Or if you're going to put them in the molds, you can just take the small pieces and press it into the chocolate molds that you made. And then we'll let those set up for a little bit. And then we'll put the chocolate topping over it. We'll freeze that, and then our candies will be done. And you will have awesome peanut butter chocolate cups. I make these for Easter all the time. So get mixing, and I will meet you in a couple minutes to put these into the chocolate molds. Hi. Okay, so back with the peanut butter, and I just made a small batch. You can make whatever size batch you want. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you're done. So if you're just going to dip them in chocolate, just peel off whatever amount you want. You make it a square, make it shaped like an egg, and then you'll put these in the freezer for a good probably 15 minutes, harden them up, and then you can dip them in your chocolate, lay them on some parchment paper, and put those back into the freezer so they harden, and then you're good to go. So, but mine are going to go into the big molds that we made. I have marshmallows in there now, so I just making a batch of both. So for the small mold, we're just going to take a small amount of peanut butter and we're just going to press it in there. You have to leave room for the chocolate that goes on top. Some of my marshmallow ones are a little full, but leave some room so that a good amount of chocolate can go on top, and then it won't break as easy. So just put them in there like that. There we go. Whoops, that might be too much. Okay. All right, and then we'll fill these great big ones for my nephews. Okay, and that's how this one looks, okay? So now I'm gonna put these in the freezer for about 15 minutes. We'll let these harden up so when I pour the chocolate over them, it's not just a big gooey mess. Okay, so we'll meet back then. Get your chocolate that you were using before. We're gonna have to melt that over again. We're gonna pour it over the top. We're gonna level it off, and then we'll stick it in the freezer, and they'll be done. Yay! Okay, it was a lot of work, I guess, but easy. So I'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. Are you ready for the last step? So go ahead and get everything out of the freezer and make sure your chocolate is all melted. Okay, so we'll start with the dark chocolate first, or mine's milk chocolate. All right, and you're just basically just covering up those tops. That's it. Keep them clean around here. Otherwise, you're going to have, it's not going to be a very pretty bottom for you. If you want to have cleaner edges, you can take a knife or a spoon and scrape it like that off the top. But you don't have to. Just make sure that there's enough to hold your filling in. And then that very last step is going to be putting them in the freezer. And it really doesn't take long at all, remember. Takes only about 15 minutes. Okay, now I'll do these chocolates over here. If you got to heat up more chocolate, heat up more chocolate. Oh, I'm going to be cutting this one close with the big ones. Okay. Just spread it around to fill the gap you got there. Okay, I'm going to have to make a little more of the chocolate for this one. So we'll spoon in the white chocolate. Too much in there. We'll move that along there. There we go. Remember, before you put them in the freezer, just clean up those edges. Okay, now you just move everything to the freezer. Let me meet you back here, and we can see what our finished product looks like. They're going to be great. See you in a minute. All right, I have mine out of the freezer. You should too. Then you just turn them over. A lot of them, they'll just fall right out for you. You might have to tap on a couple of them. Woo! Before they come out. Oh my goodness. Those two don't want to come out at all. Oh. Okay, we'll worry about those later. Usually if you just let them warm. Oh, no, that one came out. Pull it up. There you go. Okay. So these, see how cute they turn out? And I didn't scrape these. So this is what happens when you don't scrape them. You get the extra stuff on the outside. So what you have to do is you just peel that off. All right. Okay, so we have those. And now for the big ones. Silicone stuff, this will peel right off of them. But see how great they look? I love these molds. These are great. Oh, and they're so fun to work with. Oh, I got a little extra on the bottom. Look at that one. And I'm sure yours turned out spectacular as well. And I think my nephews and my oldest son, would love to eat these. All right. So let's look. Show me your finished product in the comments. Can't wait till Easter when we can wrap these up. Keep them refrigerated for a longer shelf life if you're going to have to wait for a little bit. Probably freeze them. But that's it. Happy Easter. And I hope you had a good time learning. We'll see you soon. Check back for new episodes.